Ever since he first appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy, Rocket Raccoon has been stealing the show every time he's on the big screen. But comic book fans know there's over 40 years worth of material about Rocket that most people have no idea about. Today, we'll be letting you in on some little known but fascinating facts about everyone's favorite trash panda, Rocket. But before we get into those cold hard facts about Rocket Raccoon, grab a prosthetic leg and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell for more from CBR. Okay, we'll admit, we didn't really need the prosthetic leg after all. Rocky. It's hard to imagine seeing the Guardians of the Galaxy without Rocket, but for decades, he was severely underutilized in the comics. The character we now know as Rocket appeared in 1976, but he went by a different name. He was actually called Rocky when he was first introduced. Rocky Raccoon first appeared in Marvel Preview issue number 7, and fans wouldn't see him again for years. Then he showed up in The Incredible Hulk issue 271, where it was revealed that Rocky was simply a nickname for his real name, Rocket. We never imagined Rocket would be the type of guy to have a nickname, especially a cute one. The Beatles. If you think Rocky Raccoon sounds familiar, you could be thinking of the hit song by the Beatles, and that wouldn't be a coincidence. The character was inspired by the song Rocky Raccoon. Back on his home planet, Rocket even had a friend called Walrus, which is a nod to another Beatles song, I Am the Walrus. On that planet, Rocket had a treasured Gideon's Bible, which is a reference to the lyric Rocky Raccoon checked into his room only to find Gideon's Bible. Peter Quill might have his tape player, but Rocket's entire backstory is a song. Groot. When Guardians of the Galaxy first came out, we were all impressed to learn how many different ways Vin Diesel could say, I am Groot. Although Rocket always seemed to understand his friend, many wondered if he actually knew what Groot was saying or was just making a well-informed guess. But in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, we saw Star-Lord talking with Groot during a post-credits scene and seemingly understands what he was saying absent of any context or clues. Maybe Rocket had given him some lessons, since he's actually able to understand everything Groot says. Robots. We've seen Rocket whipping up complex pieces of technology with a moment's notice, but you might be surprised to learn that there was a time when he himself was being created. Not only does Rocket indeed have a creator, but he was created by robots. These robots created him as part of a scientific experiment, and he was actually intended to be a comforting pet. Needless to say, he decided to follow a very different career path. When Star-Lord calls Rocket a raccoon, Rocket asks him what that is. Rocket wasn't just being glib, he may have once been a raccoon, but thanks to robotic intervention, he's now something else entirely. Exterminators. When it comes to the Guardians of the Galaxy of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's Peter Quill who has a bit of a reputation for being a ladies' man, but in the comics, Rocket shockingly does pretty well for himself in the romance department. In the comic books, his many ex-girlfriends team up to form the EX-TERMINATORs, and are joined together by their mutual hatred of Rocket and resentment for being dumb. It's a real Scott Pilgrim versus the world type situation, but we can see why Marvel decided not to bring raccoon humanoid romances to the big screen. Asylum. To be a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, you don't have to be crazy, but it certainly helps. Rocket might be a bit eccentric at times, but it's not surprising considering that he was raised in an insane asylum. Those robots who created him did so because they were tired of caring for their psychiatric patients, so they engineered some animal caretakers to do the job with varying degrees of success. We've seen Rocket do a lot of things, but imagining him tending to patients seems pretty unfathomable. Plus, seeing a raccoon walking upright and talking probably wouldn't help anyone feel more sane. Oreo. However Rocket came to be, there's no doubt that an actual raccoon was involved. When it came time to bring Rocket to the big screen, the studio needed help from an adorable little raccoon named Oreo. Animators were able to study his movements and mannerisms to get an idea of how actual raccoons behave. This made it easier to make Rocket not only look like a raccoon, but move like one as well. Rocket was created using a technique known as rotoscoping, but the inspiration for his character can be credited to Oreo. Hulk. Rocket has appeared in the Incredible Hulk comics many times over the years, and apparently, the two get on pretty well. Neither Rocket nor Hulk are known for their people skills, so it sort of makes sense that the two of them would end up forging a friendship with one another. In the comics, Hulk even takes a visit to Rocket's home planet, Half-World, so they're pretty much BFFs. Originals. If you're only familiar with the movie version of the Guardians, it might surprise you to know that the original lineup was completely different. Surprisingly, the only original member movie fans will recognize is Yondu Udonta. In addition, the group was joined by Major Victory, Martinex Tanaga, and Captain Charlie 27. The Guardians of the Galaxy we know today didn't come together until 2008, and the characters were previously unrelated to one another. Improvised. The first Guardians of the Galaxy was when most people fell in love with this wisecracking, cynical, raccoon-like creature. While he's voiced by Bradley Cooper, the person running around in a motion capture suit was Sean Gunn. He's the brother of director James Gunn, and is responsible for one of the best lines in the movie. During the poignant scene where the Guardians come together as friends, Rocket says, "Happy? We're all standing now. Bunch of jackasses standing in a circle." Well, turns out that was a bit of improvisation by Sean Gunn. It went over so well that it ended up being recorded by Bradley Cooper and included in the film. Those were some relatively unknown facts about everyone's favorite trash panda, Rocket Raccoon. Is he your favorite Guardian? Are you looking forward to what he can do in Avengers 4? Let us know in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more videos from CBR. Thanks for watching.